There's an unspoken electricity buzzing beneath the surface of this Warriors offseason, a secret pulse that could rewrite the next chapter of Dub. Nations fight for supremacy in ways we're only beginning to grasp. Welcome back to Warriors. News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Now, the Warriors have long been savvy architects of their dynasty, sculpting championship rosters with precision. But this summer feels different. It feels like chess played in shadows, with every salary cap figure, every veteran presence, every whispered contact hiding a gamble that could tip the scales. We all know the headlines. D'Anthony Melton and Al Horford circled like hawks as prime offseason targets. Familiar names with proven pedigree ready to fortify Golden State's core. But behind the curtain, a darker horse might be galloping. Quietly into contention, none other than Chris Middleton, the seasoned forward who wore the Bucks green for over a decade before an unexpected midseason trade cast him in the Wizards blue. Now, why does this matter? Because the very nature of Middleton's situation embodies the delicate balance of risk and reward that defines this Warriors rebuild. With the Suns, Bucks, Wizards, and other contenders eyeing his buyout potential, Middleton isn't just a name on a list. He's a strategic opportunity whispered among front office decision makers, a potential sneaky signing lurking beneath a roster burdened by cap constraints and high-priced stars. As Evan Sidery of Forbes recently highlighted, Middleton's trade to Washington last season was as much about Milwaukee's cap crunch as it was about basketball realities. And despite his reduced numbers in D.C. averaging just over 10 points, with decent rebounds and assists, his impact still rings loud for a team hunting for reliable rotation wings. Add to the mix the Warriors' gargantuan payroll next season, obligated to roughly $140 million in just 3 players, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, and suddenly the luxury of splashy marquee signings vanishes, replaced by the need for low-cost, high-impact veterans. This is where Middleton's narrative twists 33 years old. On the last year of a hefty 3-year extension worth $93 million, with an injury history that scares off many would-be suitors. He's not the headline he once was, but perhaps he's exactly the under-the-radar piece Golden State needs. We must pause to consider Moses Moody, the young wing oscillating between promise and uncertainty, whose development could be accelerated or stabilized by a steady veteran presence like Middleton's. And if we think deeper, the veteran minimum bargain Middleton could represent if and when a buyout is agreed upon might just be a masterstroke of management cunning, transforming a seeming liability into a strategic asset. Picture the irony. While the Warriors front office has publicly set sights on Melton and Horford solid, reliable contributors with their own splash-era gravitas, they could pivot in a heartbeat, seizing an unexpected opportunity that other contenders either overlook or dismiss. And isn't that the essence of the Warriors' dynasty-building philosophy? To exploit windows, to find value where others see diminished returns. Could this be the watershed moment where the front office rewrites its own script, challenging the narrative built around veteran age profiles and injury risks? After all, signing Horford alongside an aging trio of Curry, Butler, and Green would push Golden State's starting lineup into a near 35-plus average age span, potentially jeopardizing the quick, dynamic playstyle Dub Nation reveres. Meanwhile, Middleton sits in the sweet spot experience, but not expired. A blend of the old guard and the still competitive pulse of the league's best wings. But here's the under-the-radar bomb no one saw coming. Is it possible that this quiet, almost desperate move from Middleton could unleash a ripple effect through the locker room, elevating the Warriors' competitive depth while preserving precious cap maneuverability? And what about the emotional stakes here? Remember the We Believe era, the underdogs who lit a fire under the league's giants. Remember how those moments of calculated risk forged a lasting legacy. Middleton's acquisition on a veteran minimum, should it happen, could channel that spirit of scrappy resilience that catapulted Golden State to dynastic heights. proving once again that savvy, not just star power, creates champions. Imagine the narrative continuity to Middleton, a former Eastern Conference stalwart, now asked to bolster a West Coast juggernaut with hungry young talent hungry to etch their own splash-era legends alongside Curry and Kuminga. As the whispers grow louder, as the front office's chessboard rearranges with each passing day, one question deafens above all. Could this be the ignition point that propels the Warriors toward their next title run? Or is it a crack in the armor that risks fracturing the delicate balance of a team built on chemistry, longevity, and the hunger to outlast every challenger? The pulse of Dub Nation is electric with speculation. There's a story here that blends hope and uncertainty, brilliance and desperation. For a franchise that has always balanced on the razor's edge between bold innovation and cautious tradition, the decision to chase Middleton isn't just a signing. It's a statement, a gamble wrapped in the layers of contract math, injury risks, and a burning desire to maintain championship relevance. As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this, imagining the narratives that could explode or implode around this possible move. How will Moses Moody respond to the rise of a high-level vet in his court? Does this soften the risk of relying on the venerable Horford? And most pressingly, will this secret chess move flip the narrative of a cap-crippled Warriors team into a sleepless, terrifying contender that once again dares to challenge the league's power balance? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If the thought of Chris Middleton slipping quietly into our roster sends a jolt through your veins, I want to hear you right now, whether it's a hell yes or no way, we're risking too much. Drop it below, because this is the kind of moment that's either going to fuel Dub Nation's fire or fracture our fragile dynasty. And every single heartbeat in the Chase Center will be tuning in like it's Game 7. Listen. This isn't just about adding another veteran wing or filling out a rotation spot anymore. This is an existential crossroad for the Warriors. A razor-thin margin between staying relevant and fading faster than the Oracle crowd heard after that infamous 2019 sweep. Picture this. For over a decade, Golden State was defined by the unstoppable slickness of Splash Brothers, the defensive hellstorm Draymond's brain unleashed, and the unshakable unselfishness Kerr coaxed out of a team that seemed to redefine chemistry with every clutch playoff possession. Now, we're dealing with a landscape that's less unstoppable dynasty and more high-stakes tightrope walk between excellence and erosion. Middleton's presence in that equation rocks the foundation. He's not the flashy headline. He's the quiet menace, the unheralded glue, the player who understands how to win without dominating your highlight reel, but absolutely owning your rotation. But here's what stings. If the front office pulls this off, bringing in Chris at a veteran minimum after a be-out low risk, potentially huge reward, it could flip our narrative from cap crunch contender limping along to most cunning roster in the league, a team sneaking through the shadows to catch the Knicks, Lakers, and Suns off guard when no one's looking. Yet, it also raises every alarm bell about chemistry. Moses Moody, our young chess piece with upside but still raw edges, suddenly finds his on-court minutes siphoned off, his growth disrupted by the demands of integrating a high-level vet whose experience spans deep playoff trenches and Eastern Conference wars. And Draymond, can he, the heart and sometimes the lightning rod of this team, really embrace another wing with a history of clutch shooting and mid-range cold-bloodedness? There's always the risk that introducing Middleton could unsettle the intricate balance of personalities Kerr has painstakingly cultivated, the fiery practices, the relentless developmental push, the locker room dialogues that breathe life into the rotations. Now Steph's voice weighs heavier than ever. At 36, the man who's redefined modern shooting with every flick of his wrist is carrying the double-edged sword of legacy and urgency. Legacy, because he's cementing his place among the greatest to ever hold the ball. Urgency, because every season is a reminder that the clock ticks toward what comes next and the uncharted territory beyond the finals run. Bringing Middleton into this mix could reignite Curry's fire as he pairs with a wing who knows how to move without the ball, who can deliver under pressure, and who can ease the scoring burden when defenses collapse on the Splash Brothers. But what if it's a powder keg? What if Middleton's injury questions, his fading numbers, his fit in Steve Kerr's Swiss watch offense cause more disruption than cohesion? The very identity of the Warriors, a team built on pace, space, and near-psychic unselfishness, could be at risk if Middleton's not the right personality match or if his body betrays us once again. And what of the broader front office gambit? We all praise Golden State's foresight and precision, whether it's drafting Wiseman despite the turbulence, rolling with Kuminga's ups and downs, or managing the payroll with borderline wizardry. Signing Middleton at a veteran minimum isn't just a thimbleful of risk. Behind closed doors, it's a massive roll of the dice on history repeating itself. Are the Warriors betting that Middleton's trajectory bends toward revival, a phoenix rising from a middling Wizard stint? Or are they gambling that the promise of a be-out just leaves Middleton hungry enough to give us the version of himself that dominated the Bucks alongside Giannis, the clutch competitor who could hit shots when it mattered most? Let's not ignore the emotional undercurrents swirling around this potential move. Dub Nation isn't just a fandom. We're a family steeped in memories that bleed blue and gold. Remember how Andre Iguodala's unselfish defense and basketball IQ turned tides? How Sean Livingston's calm presence steadied the ship during injuries? Middleton has the potential to slot in just right and channel that same kind of understated but absolutely crucial contribution. Still, the whispers in the locker room are real. There's tension in welcoming a veteran who's had to fight battles outside the spotlight, who's juggled contracts and buyouts, who now steps into a setting that demands nothing less than championship pedigree every single night. For Warriors leadership, this isn't about just filling a spot. It's a test of the team culture, a probe into the sinews of cohesion that have made Golden State a dynasty. Make no mistake, the stakes couldn't be higher. Signing Middleton could push our lineup's average age higher than fan forums want to admit, igniting criticism that the Warriors are a relic team, riding fading stars rather than a hungry, fast-paced juggernaut. But if it works, oh, if it works, we could see a finisher whose experience melds with Kevin Looney's evolving defensive mastery and Kuminga's freakish athleticism, crafting a rotation that's 10 deep with guys who know how to close out games, how to read defenses, and how to bear the burden when the arena roars or falls silent. It's a precarious synchrony between resilience and reinvention, between nostalgia and necessity. The clock is ticking on this off-season's real work, the kind that won't hit headlines until the buzzer sounds on training camp, and all the while, Steph's legacy hangs in the balance. Will this be the final push that delivers an improbable title, or the moment a dynasty begins to unravel under the weight of too many moving parts? As someone who's watched curse-breaking banners raised, who's felt the heartache of injuries and cringed through mid-season collapses and braced for heartbreak more times than a casual fan can count, I'm telling you, this Middleton move, if it happens, could be the quiet storm that reminds the league that Golden State isn't done, that the monster we built still hunts in the shadows. But I'm also bracing for the fallout, because genius and disaster move hand in hand in this game, and the Warriors are balancing on that ridge right now. So, where do you stand? Is Chris Middleton the missing piece that will make our dynasty breathe fire one more time? Or is this the risk that fractures our foundation? No filters, no sugarcoating. I'm holding my breath like you are now. Drop your wildest, rawest, most ride-or-die takes right here in the comments. This is Warriors News Fan Report with a pulse of Dub Nation, and this off-season just got real.